Well, hello again, my friends. It's been a long time since I've uploaded a video to this channel. The last one I did, I believe it was during the installation of solar panels. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and make a new one and give everyone an update on what's up with the bus and how well it's handled. We've taken it on, I don't know, about a 1,000-mile journey, and went to the Gorge, to the Dead Show, and then down to Eugene. And we also took it up some really burly hills to go camping. And so I thought I would just give people a rundown of where the bus is at, some of the things I've discovered about it, some of the things that other people might want to be aware of if you are going to get a school bus as well. And so here we go. I'm gonna make this as try to hold the camera as steady as possible, but it is just a crappy little phone camera. So anyway, where I was at last time with the solar panels here, we've got 200-watt solar panels, and the wiring runs down through, goes down into the engine compartment and runs out down through here in this mess of wires, and goes to the charge controller, which is right here. Now something happened. I must have bumped it because it's not charging now. I've been having issues with the interesting. Yeah, sometimes you're going to have issues with the input here, and I'm not sure what the deal is or why it does this. It's very strange. I think that the wires are all tied up there. I didn't bump anything. Anyhow, this is a perfect example of one of the things to look out for, because if your panels are not charging, then, and not everybody's going to have panels, but that's the charge rate, and there's the output. Not using any right now, but the mess of wires, the fuse bank, and all that stuff. Then I have an inverter over here, which powers the subwoofer in the back, as well as, for example, this funky little light setup I've got right here. So I just flip this switch, and it turns on these two lights. So this black light can be shown anywhere I like, and it has various settings on it, but at night it's beautiful. And it shines on these gems that I made. I didn't buy them, I made them out of resin and glow powder, so I can make them dimensional, and I figured I'd just use them for that. But anyhow, that's just fun stuff. So up here I've got storage, and I haven't really done much to this area, and I found that it's great to have just a big bin to put things up front. One thing I've learned is things don't fall out as much as you might think. I've been through some bumpy ass roads, and stuff does tend to slide around corners and whatnot, but having something as simple as this, just a box, all this was an old medicine cabinet type thing that I built years ago, and I just mounted it on here so I could just stick things in there. Everything, band-aids, crayons, whatever you might possibly need. So the front area is pretty simple. I've got, I hold some of my bins in here, and then that stick can come out so I can put bigger bins, and I'll put my coolers in right here. I've got the sink and everything, which works just fine. You're going to have to drain your gray water tank if you do that, like I do, by hand. But it's not that much of a hassle, and I don't use the sink all that much. Over here I've got the little refrigerator. It's a Dometic 3-way, but it takes too much power to run on electric, so I found that I need to hook it up to propane, but I haven't done that either yet. And right now it's more or less just storage for stuff, and it works fine for that with the coolers. Over here I've got the essential gas can. I've already run out of gas once on the exit almost to the Dead Show this last weekend, and thank goodness I had enough to get me to the show and back to the gas station. So I just keep that and my propane tank down here. Safety is always an issue with propane tanks, so you know, be smart about it. Sometimes I'll keep it in the very back. So as far as what's new, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I haven't already shown. The stereo system is a standard car stereo, and then I have these little speakers, 4 speakers that I use, and these set up here on the back shelf when I'm in bed, in my bed area. But they can also go down inside here during when we're traveling, so other people can use them, or listen to them rather down here, and they don't bounce around as much. And each one of these cubby holes has a switch that turns on and off, you know, various lights here. For some reason, Oh, there we go. These ones aren't completely hooked up. I'm still kind of figuring out where they go. But like I got a light switch here, which turns on that light. And I just made that thing out of resin. And then this one over here, which turns on this little unit. It's an essential. I mean, it's an outlet setup. You've got the voltage. I can read it from bed. It's got 2 USB plugs, as well as a cigarette lighter plug. So I've always got ways to charge my phones and things like that, whatever you might need. Standard shelf. Don't really use it a whole lot. Little mushroom that Blaze gave me. Thanks, bro. But all these are kind of glued in, so everything's permanently, except that. Because things on shelves do move, and it kind of sucks to have to go set them back out all the time. But for example, this upper area that has baskets in it, you would think they'd just fly out, but they don't. They stay in here well, and I could cruise along with those in there all day long, no problem. This thing does tend to fall down, but I need to attach that because that's removable, and I'll show you where that goes in a minute. On the other side, I do have cupboards, but you know, they're not exactly essential. I've got the skull and everything kind of glued down here. And, you know, another switch over here for the light there. And pretty much that's all there is as far as, you know, what I've done since the last video that I made. This thing does come out and it sits right inside this little area. And then you can use it outside. And this is the bifold table. And that table just folds right up and locks in place. Here, I'll show you. Try to. Alright. There. When it's all closed up, it looks like that. Somebody drew that at the show. They said, "Can I draw on your bus?" I said, "Sure." So yeah, and that closes up. And you're ready to rock. So, school bus life. There's a reason we named our bus Patience. And it's because you learn to have patience when you drive a bus. This is an exceptionally different, an interesting situation having an unleaded, regular vehicle as opposed to a diesel, which most buses are. So when you talk to other bus owners, even at the Dead show I saw in the Gorge, I saw 2 guys next to each other. They were brothers, and they both had the same frickin' bus. They were like from the same auction, and they were exactly like mine, with the sloped front and everything. And we talked, hung out for a bit, and both of theirs were diesel, of course, too. But like I said, you find your happy RPMs, your happy level with your car. Your bus will tell you how fast it wants to go. Hitting the gas harder or trying to, you know, you want to be in as low of a gear, a much lower gear as you ordinarily would in, say, a car. You can't just sit there and drive going up a hill. So second or third are essentials, but when this thing's going up a steep grade, she might crawl around at 35 miles an hour, sometimes even 30. And that's not too surprising. Even some really steep grades, some big coaches have trouble going even double digits. So being patient is very essential to driving a bus. Stay in the right lane, just cruise along and enjoy it. Having enough gas is always essential. Like I said, it's so easy to run out in something like this because it's just such a gas hog. And yeah, there's so many pointers and ideas, but if I think of any other things I really wanted to share, then I'll post them in the comments. I just wanted to kind of give a rundown of where I'm at and how she's done in the first 2 trips. See, we just label where we go here and how many miles we drove, and then eventually we'll know, you know, how many miles we put on it. I write down the mountain passes, stuff like that, how steep they are as far as how hard it is to get the bus up them. But I guess instead of becoming more stressful, it's become less stressful because now I'm just learning to cope with it. It is what it is. So I didn't have a horn when the thing, it looked like it had a brand new horn mounted in there, but somebody, for some reason it wouldn't work. And I think the previous owner tried to ground it out and it I don't know what he did wrong, but I just ran all new wiring for it, so I can just have a little button there. Other than that, I think that's about it for the tour. And you know, maybe if I keep this channel going, I'll just do like bus tour videos when I'm on the road and stuff, you know. But there's a lot of little work to do, but pretty much the big stuff's finished. So that's my messy bus. Have a wonderful day.